Selected 1. A lawyer has been flying across the nation to deliver the most important news of your life, all the while keeping a tight eye on your home and following your every step. And the reason this heavenly delivery is finally reaching you is because of your spiritual mastery. The universe has now been getting ready for something very big for you. And we're going to go into detail today about what's been going on behind the scenes while you've been taking care of yourself and improving your life. Finally, on your behalf, the cosmic legal system has come into play. And since they are aware that something significant is about to happen to you, they're keeping an eye on everything you do. You are surrounded by loving, light-protecting guardian forces while you take in this message. The divine world is using this broadcast to relay vital information as this energy develops. Additionally, the frequency of your greatest good is there in every syllable. You are getting this because your soul understands the truth in these discoveries, and you are a member of a high-frequency collective that is going through this identical spiritual battle. Cosmic justice is turning the scales in your favor as something that has been very unjust in your life is now being fixed. There is an experienced authority person who has been seeking the truth about your circumstances and may have legal or spiritual clout. Fighting against divine will has left your main oppressor, the individual who has been working against you, financially and spiritually impoverished. The individual who has been against you has spent all of their resources attempting to obstruct your way. The poverty they attempted to create for you is what they are now living in, utterly incapable of rebuilding or moving on as they have devoted all of their resources to your devastation. When it comes to safeguarding the selected, the universe doesn't mince words. You've been able to perceive spiritually enough to know when someone doesn't connect with your frequency, and you've instinctively avoided energy vampires for no apparent reason. You avoided becoming more deeply involved with those who were actively working to undermine your achievement because of this protective tendency. They were squandering their time and money attempting to follow your every move and forecast your next move while you were stealthily laying your foundation. Your adversaries have been frantically attempting to find out how to deal with your growing influence by having emergency meetings behind closed doors in conference rooms and family rooms. These are covert meetings when co-conspirators, bound by fear and shame, talk about ways to limit the harm. This plot against you involves both selected family members and blood relatives. They are all caught in this web of deceit because they share sinister secrets. You must comprehend how deep this network is. They've been getting together often, sometimes even monthly, to plan their assaults on your reputation and achievements. These aren't arbitrary jealousy-related behaviors. This systematic spiritual battle is meant to prevent you from asserting your legitimate claim to what is legitimately yours. Instead of safeguarding you, family members were taking part in plots to compromise your stability and mental well-being. This scenario has the feel of a funeral. They are really lamenting the loss of their authority over you. You are receiving unexpected revenue as a direct result of the recent death of someone in their group. This isn't your own family's money. This is unexpected inheritance or recompense. Someone who, in their last preparations, left you something important. You were the victim of crimes perpetrated by the deceased, and they made the decision to leave you something significant in their dying moments or legal paperwork. An attorney is already on their way to inform you of this. They are here to inform you about assets, money, or property that are legally yours. Assets that have been concealed by others. Because this inheritance scenario is proof of their guilt, it is producing a great deal of worry in their network. In essence, the dead person's last action was a confession. They recognize that you have been harmed and that you are entitled to reparations by leaving you recompense. This move confirms all of your suspicions about their illegal actions. Your unruly independence has awakened the workplace. People are reevaluating their whole life in light of your ability to overcome obstacles and uphold your moral principles. They're beginning to see that they don't have to continue to be held captive by fictitious power. And under dishonest leadership, this is creating a great deal of stress in settings where everyone was meant to collaborate. Your workplace is undergoing a stunning transition. Workers who formerly obeyed commands without question are increasingly contesting judgments and requesting justifications. They are requesting openness on rules and practices that have never made sense. Their own feeling of professional dignity and self-worth has been reawakened by your example of independence. This adversary has been investigating your history and doing searches and reports on a person they don't even know personally. They are totally fixated on following your every move and attempting to forecast your next move. Their kind of shadow labor necessitates working in the dark, but you've shed so much light on the matter that everyone can now see all of their covert operations. People you trusted, possibly friends or acquaintances, were part of their monitoring network and were providing your adversaries with information. They have been monitoring your connections, vacation plans, purchasing habits, and social media activity. The purpose of this extensive monitoring system was to alert them in advance of your accomplishments so they could take action. Despite being exposed in the open, they're frantically attempting to maintain their fictitious power. Their strategies have been observed by someone with foresight who is now making them public. Everyone around them can see how corrupt they are because to your self-assurance and public achievement. The exposure is occurring concurrently via a number of routes. People are coming out with proof of their prejudice and harassment. Evidence of their illicit activity is coming to light. Previously disregarded or repressed concerns are now receiving attention from higher authorities. After so long of attempting to portray you as unstable and unreliable, the truth about your skills is now coming to light. Your recent financial success, a new job, a new house, a new automobile, or anything else noteworthy, is evidence that you have been creating something meaningful. The timing of your accomplishment is so potent since it directly contradicts everything they said about you, even though they believed you to be disorganized and aimless. They propagated false information about your personal instability, professional unreliability, and financial irresponsibility. They persuaded others that you were always on the edge of failure and barely made it through each day. Their story has been totally upended by your ascension. The new job you got offered more respect, more money, and better benefits than anything they could get on their own. Their living conditions seem pitiful in contrast to the stability and prosperity that the house you bought or renovated symbolizes. All of your material progress is proof that their efforts at character assassination were only projection. For months or years, you've been practicing patience and strategic preparation while seeming erratic to others who see you. In your manifestations, you reached harvest season and perfected your trade, giving everyone who had gambled against your success a total tower moment. Even though they have made every effort to undermine your growth, your foundation is completely sound. You know how important it is to move in quiet. Therefore, your planning process has remained invisible to outside observers. You are quietly establishing connections, honing your abilities, and setting yourself up for possibilities while others were occupied with plotting and talking. Because they are too preoccupied with instant satisfaction and short-term successes, they are unable to attain the level of strategic thinking that you possess. The harvest you are now enjoying is the result of years of patience and faith-based seeding. Every ability you acquired in trying times, every bond you kept despite hardships, and every little investment you made in your future. Now, all of these factors are coming together to provide plenty that seems unexpected to others who weren't aware of your preparation. They have been monitoring your life continuously, attempting to follow every aspect of your everyday activities and significant choices. People are being sent to approach you because they are unable to follow your planning process. Your controlled chaos and strategic unpredictability have left informants and spies hopelessly perplexed as they try to figure out your techniques. You may be surprised to learn how vast the monitoring network they set up is. They have been keeping tabs on your social media connections, tracking your purchases, keeping tabs on your internet activity, and even trying to snoop on your religious activities. They're frantically attempting to figure out how you manage to achieve such steady success while seemingly functioning without the aid of conventional support networks. Their narrow minds have been observing you from the outside while you have been developing from the inside, making your achievement appear unattainable. You were practicing patience and carrying out plans they couldn't see or comprehend, but they saw what seemed to be abrupt manifestations. Your techniques are far beyond their cognitive level. They are experiencing severe psychological discomfort as a result of the discrepancy between their expectations and your reality. It seems like a personal assault on their knowledge and intuition since they put so much effort into foreseeing your failure. They are unable to acknowledge that they have a fundamentally incorrect understanding of your personality and skills. You've been acting like a professional strategist, keeping your cards close to the vest and never making your moves public until they're finished. When you're creating something important, this ninja mindset shields your energy and keeps outside disturbance at bay. Their frustration stems from their inability to anticipate or manage your next move. Your tactic of being silent has worked especially well since it compels people to draw conclusions from little facts. They've been fabricating whole stories about your intentions and motives that are not supported by facts. They have wasted resources preparing for unreal possibilities because of their erroneous beliefs about your future steps. Your adversary's criminal network has been running an insurance fraud and identity theft scam. They went so far as to inform authorities that you had passed away. They proclaimed you legally dead in order to get assets, funds, or benefits that are lawfully yours. These fraudulent papers were co-signed by many persons in order to steal your property. This fraud's extent is astounding. They produced a whole fictitious paper trail, replete with witness accounts, medical records, and official documents, detailing your alleged demise. This was not a straightforward fraud. People with access to the legal and medical systems who were prepared to jeopardize their freedom and professions in order to steal from you were part of this organized criminal organization. This scam involved a network of family members, perhaps a father and sister team, with one member employed in the legal or law enforcement sectors. They assured their other conspirators that they would be safe carrying out their plan, assuring everyone that they could do so without facing any repercussions. Now that their illegal actions are being revealed, these bogus promises are disintegrating. The law enforcement family members suppressed investigations and legitimized fictitious papers by using their position. They persuaded others that the whole network would not be prosecuted because of their insider information. Any inquiries about your demise would be handled internally and promptly discarded, they assured me. It was never intended for you to travel this route by yourself. There is more to the Obsidian Inner Order than meets the eye. It is a haven for the awakened, the exiled, and those who have been abandoned for their truth and gaslight for their abilities. We get together live on Zoom once a week. Stories of change from real individuals with genuine faces. The psychic skills of a former CFO were accepted, a seer who liberated himself from religious tyranny, and a healer who discovered their ability after surviving ritual torture. We're joined by dozens of others who have been through precisely what you have. Your spiritual family is this group. I will never abandon you. I will never allow you to experience this enlightenment by yourself. I would never ignore your pain as if it were a sign of disdain. You are not punished by being banished from the normal world. For us and the family that chose you back, it was a prelude to this. Join the Inner Order of Obsidians. In the description, there's a link. At the moment, the crooks are inwardly terrified of being discovered, while putting on a public front of indifference to the repercussions. They continue to misrepresent their true level of difficulties to the remaining conspirators. The strain of maintaining these secrets while being investigated is causing serious stress-related health issues for some of them. Due to the nationwide character of their offenses, federal authorities have been included to the inquiry. Authorities and financial organizations are working together to track out fraudulent transactions and track down money transfers. All of their manipulated official documents, internet communications, and financial transactions are now evidence in a criminal prosecution that may ruin their lives. Their psychological defense of these atrocities is what further distorts the picture. They really feel that they were battling for something that was wrongfully denied to them, such as justice, love, or recognition. They believe that you stood in the way of their achievement or pleasure. Therefore, removing you from the law was a sensible way to address their issues. Because she is acting out of sheer desperation, the sister figure in this network is especially harmful. She may be attempting to conceal the identity of the baby's father while she is pregnant, or she may be in danger of being bankrupt, which would make turning to crime her only choice. She is acting more and more recklessly out of fear of failing the father figure. This father role might be a mentor, step-parent, or biological parent with some kind of legal or law enforcement power. They have been using their position to safeguard their criminal network by gaining access to confidential information and influencing investigations. They are now seeing that their might is insufficient to eliminate this circumstance. When your adversaries attempted to intensify their harassment, the universe actively protected you. Even if someone had been bribed to physically attack you, heavenly intervention kicked in right away. Their hired individual was arrested on outstanding warrants from many states after being stopped by police during a routine traffic check. This intervention came at just the right moment. Your adversaries planned this assault for weeks, arranging payment plans and timetables to make sure their hired criminal would arrive at your most vulnerable time. They believed they had explored every aspect and removed every probable problem. The universe made it such that law enforcement would find out everything they were evading, and this hired criminal already had a lot of legal issues. Karma was instantaneous and unchangeable. They agreed to hurt you and were promptly punished for all of their previous transgressions. No one with malice will be permitted to contact you in the holy world. The criminal they hired wasn't just anyone. This individual had a violent and intimidating past and was an expert at making difficulties go away for affluent clientele. Your attackers were sure that this strategy would succeed since they had successfully fulfilled similar contracts in the past without being discovered. The traffic stop was carried out by a police officer who was unaware that they were stopping an attempted murder. When they learned that the hired criminals had outstanding warrants from many jurisdictions, they were only doing their regular law enforcement duties. Divine energies planned every aspect of this action, yet the spiritual meaning was entirely concealed from human view. Your spiritual guardians and ancestors have been keeping an eye on all of their correspondence. Spiritual intelligence totally concealed the phone conversation between the family members and the foreign doctor about you and this probe. Though they believed their discussions were private, all of their words were being heard by heavenly powers. The terror sweeping through their criminal network was exposed by the phone call. When their well-thought-out assault failed so catastrophically, the foreign doctor demanded explanations. Family members were debating whether to try a different strategy or to give up on their plans completely. The reason this energy seems so intense and weighty at the moment is because of the timing of their unsuccessful assault. They're frantically trying to determine what went wrong with their strategy, phoning one another to talk about this heavenly intervention that stopped their hired criminal from getting in touch with you. Forces beyond their control halt everyone they attempt to send. Due to their extensive financial and criminal exposure in schemes that continue to fail, their desperation is approaching deadly proportions. They're beginning to understand that to oppose you is to oppose universal law. However, they're unable to compromise because of their pride and fear of being prosecuted. The criminal they employed is now in federal custody and is being prosecuted in many jurisdictions. They are disclosing details on their customers and the agreements they have signed while they're being questioned. This unanticipated collaboration is giving law enforcement information about your enemy's illegal actions that extends far beyond the abortive attempt. More proof of their criminal plot is produced with each effort they make to hurt you. Investigators now have documentation of all of this activity, including the digital conversations that planned the assault, the money transfers that paid for the illegal services, and the surveillance data that track your whereabouts. Members are beginning to understand that signing contracts against you is both legal and spiritual death, which is why their network is disintegrating. Criminal groups are spreading the word that tasks involving you are cursed and will almost certainly end in your instant arrest or worse. A legal practitioner who works in courtroom systems has been profoundly aware of your predicament. In the past, this divine male energy was misinformed or misled regarding your character, property ownership, or legal issues pertaining to you. They are no longer deceived about your true identity, and the curtain of deceit has finally been removed. With their phony death certificates and bogus papers, your opponents attempted to influence the system in which this legal expert has been operating. With all the documents at their disposal, they've been gradually assembling the facts of what really transpired. They have the power to look into inconsistencies and request explanations for papers that seem suspicious because of their position. This individual was intentionally misinforming them about your situation, abusing you, or lying to them in order to get them to avoid you. To keep them from ever approaching you or looking into your circumstances, someone was giving them misleading information. Since then, they've realized the deception and are now acting on their gut feelings. After functioning for a long time, deceit and love spells have been broken. The falsehoods that prevented this legal authority from reaching you have been revealed, and they're getting ready to approach you with crucial information pertaining to your property, inheritance, or legal affairs. They're no longer perplexed as to who is the legitimate owner of this item. They are not discussing a trivial or unimportant piece of property or inheritance. This is significant riches or priceless goods that have been kept out of your sight for years or even decades. The whole purpose of the criminal network was to keep you from ever discovering or obtaining these resources. They're traveling more than just physically to get to you. It's a spiritual journey in search of justice and truth. They are aware that sharing this knowledge with you is a component of their own spiritual development and karmic cleansing. They are willing to accept any repercussions that may arise from bringing the criminal organization that attempted to control them to light. Evidence of the fraud schemes, confirmation of your legitimate ownership, and legal documents that will return the stolen property are among the documents they are delivering. Behind the scenes, they have been collecting unquestionable proof that cannot be refuted or rejected and will stand up in any court. Instead of attempting to make external circumstances align with interior aspirations, your manifestation approach works from the inside out. You materialize with total certainty and conviction, moving through life with such assurance that it terrifies others who are acting out of fear and uncertainty. Your steadfast faith in your path produces manifestations that limited minds cannot comprehend. By letting go of things that don't benefit you without harboring animosity or anger, you demonstrate real releasing mastery. You realize that rejection serves as a kind of protection, steering you clear of circumstances that might otherwise restrict your full potential. You rejoice when something in your life passes away because you know that something better will replace it. Those who manifest via victim mentality and pity-seeking are different from you because of your daily thankfulness practice and lesson assimilation. Because you recognize that setbacks are stepping stones to greater successes, you find value in every experience, even defeats. You don't attempt to revive relationships or circumstances that have died. You make room for greater beginnings by letting natural endings happen. You cannot remain confident while surrounded by individuals who question your route because of your conviction needs. You've removed doubters and energy vampires from your group who could obstruct your manifestation process. You realize that if you're always defending your objectives to others who don't share your vision, it's virtually impossible to believe in them totally. Because your security comes from an inward spiritual connection rather than from approval or support from others, you generate plenty on your own. You create prosperity and security via self-sufficiency and divine alignment, whereas others manifest through emotional manipulation and reliance. Your oppressor's fictitious authority, upon which they base their power, has fallen apart. Since your achievement demonstrates that everything they claimed about you is false, they have completely lost credibility. They have been imprisoned in their own spiritual prison as a result of the spell they attempted to cast on your advancement. The same energy that they attempted to use against you is now locked in them, impoverished, constrained, and unable to advance. They made the frozen spell they try to cast on you their permanent home. They are stuck in frigid, sluggish energy that stops them from going ahead, whereas you are pushing forward with confidence and bravery. Their fixation on observing and managing you has turned into a delusionary preoccupation. By keeping tabs on your every action, they believe they are being strategic, but in reality, they are exhausting their own resources and energy. They've mistakenly believed that seeing you achieve is the same as making their own success. The reversal of a spell is final and irreversible. You keep moving up to greater levels of spiritual power and financial riches, while others stay trapped in fear and restriction. They are unable to escape the repercussions they brought about for themselves. Since you are following a course that has been predetermined by God, every action you perform will result in success. Your faith and strategic planning are being validated by the tangible outcomes of your hard work and dedication. You may proceed with total assurance. You've arrived at the healing water stage of your trip, when old wounds are being healed to get you ready for a better future, knowing that your path is being directed by forces beyond of human control. You no longer feel the need to defend yourself to others who don't comprehend your strategies or intentions, since you've let go of all the bad energy from past conflicts. Your calculated, quiet, and emotional distance from their viewpoints provides strong opposition to their efforts at manipulation. The stark contrast between your spiritual growth and their desperation is evident in your composure while they are in turmoil. Because you have specific goals and well-defined objectives, you materialize more quickly. While others are disorganized and reactive, you function with clarity and concentration, which is why your manifestations come quickly. While they're trapped in surveillance mode, observing your achievement rather than generating their own, you have tangible goals and unflinching trust. Being a member of an elite spiritual group going through this precise awakening makes you absolutely untouchable. You pose a threat to those who use deceit and false light because of your capacity to see genuine evil and manipulation. Since the greatest spiritual powers are directly responsible for your security, the cosmos will not let anybody to harm you. There are instant karmic repercussions for anybody who takes contracts to obstruct your progress. Attacks against you are seen as personal transgressions by the divine world, which responds with prompt and irreversible justice. Your adversaries are learning that to oppose you is to oppose global law. The group that attempted to destroy you is now aware that they made a mistake. You've risen beyond their grasp and recovered from each strike. They believe that getting rid of you would fix their issues, but they're still stuck with the results of their own decisions. However, their spiritual poverty was never caused by your presence. Your ability to let go without holding grudges distinguishes you from others who seem to be forgiving but secretly maintain feelings of rage and desire for vengeance. In reality, you let them go entirely, letting them deal with the inevitable fallout from their decisions without contributing your own emotional energy to their karma. Your experience demonstrates that those with lower spiritual vibrations cannot do irreversible damage to those who are selected. Every assault on you serves as proof of your strength and defense. Every effort to restrict you shows a new area where you're destined to grow beyond what is often possible for humans. Everyone who questioned your ability or character must now see your vindication, since the truth always comes out. Your triumph is more than simply a personal one. For those who fight for their faith via spiritual warfare, it is cosmic evidence that divine justice inevitably materializes. They can't touch you because you are the chosen one, and there is no doubt that you will win. The attorney is on the road. Your enemy's plans have fallen apart, and the inheritance has been verified. Nothing can stop what is heading your way now that your true power has been exposed. This is the time of your whole spiritual triumph. The cosmos has spoken. Justice is done,